That the imperial mammoth or Columbian mammoth, which is even bigger than the woolly, but wasn't covered with all that hair like the woolly mammoth is. But same idea otherwise, big curved tusks and so on. And so once we found the baby, we didn't stop. We kept excavating the area and so on, and wound up finding a family of mammoths. And Mommy and Daddy turned out to be the largest Columbian mammoth ever found on planet Earth. My wife helped to plaster jacket it, and based on the size of the femur, it was the largest femur ever found. We've got the record holder, and that's less than a mile from our back door. Now, I have to admit, I can't promise that you're going to find one of those if you come down. You will find lots of stuff. You'll find some really good stuff. But of course, it's rare to find something that spectacular. But it does happen. One of my students on just a regular canoe trip for the college class found an elephant tusk high in the bank. Usually they're down at river level. But this was high in the bank. Boy, was he thrilled. He comes, running up the bank. Now, a bank in Florida is not quite as tall as a wall here, okay? That's would be a real high cliff. But he runs up there, and as he gets close, he's breathing hard. And he reaches toward the specimen, and his breath just blows it away. And so here it was, just powder. It had been leached, water flowing through it. It just leached out all the supporting mineral, rotted the protein. You couldn't even plaster jacket it. Just take photographs and cry a lot, But who knows, we might find something like that. Here's a mastodon, elephants, mammoths, mastodon, just two varieties of elephants. And we find mastodon. They have quite different teeth. It's kind of amazing, the mammoth teeth, which you can find sometimes even to this day. See, they've been fossil hunting there since the 1890s. And they still find stuff. When I taught high school there in the early Mesozoic, a student, I found two complete mammoth teeth, just one afternoon. Well, you still find them, but they're rarer. The big finds now are in the deeper holes, which I haven't yet explored because that's where the gators live. And the people that do go after them with scuba gear all have gator stories. And so I'm willing to let them tell those stories. Mammoth has a real flat teeth with ridges in it. And I don't see it, like I say, in Florida, we have them right there. We just show people. And the mammoth has real bumpy teeth. And ordinarily, evolutionists will make a whole evolutionary story out of a slight change in the swirl of the teeth. But here's a huge difference. And they say, in this case, it doesn't matter. They're both elephants. And in fact, one is designed for eating the leaves, crushing the leaf blades of grass and things like that, whereas the mastodon with the cuffs bites off the stalk and works on the stalk up to the blade. But otherwise, the rest of them are just regular elephants. And here's Mary plaster jacketing that record-breaking femur with a couple of young men that started with us, and I want to be sure there's some young men and women out here, boys and girls that know about this. They started with us at age 6 and 7. At age 16 and 17, they and their family went off on their own ministry. And so they're doing this now, and they do tours, in fact, out in this area and so on. And it's really just spectacular. And they learned an awful lot from practical experience. So among the things that you find there in Peace River, you'll find lots of remains of mammoths, mastodons, and these elephants and so on. Unfortunately, it'll usually be a chip. Sometimes you can find a really big chip of a mastodon or mammoth tooth, which is pretty neat to tell people about. And it's distinctive enough, you can really recognize it and talk about it and so on. Like I said, I found a scapula shoulder blade stalk about like that. The shoulder blade, the big flat triangle part, would be about half as big as the screen there. And so you can occasionally find those. These same two boys, they had a group down the river, and they were cruising down the river after that's real 2004, just three hurricanes in 6 weeks. And of course, the river is all over everything, floods. And as it went down, of course, a lot of trees fell in. And so we were hoping to get out there, and we did get out there as soon as the water level got down to see what might be hiding in those tree roots. Well, the boys got there first, and their big oak tree had fallen in, and they found an entire lower jaw of a mammoth, in the sand, that had once been protected by these tree roots. And they told us where. And they said, go see if you can. They had to go back on another trip, so they said, go see what else you can find. And okay, early the next morning, as soon as we could see, we're out there. We found the spot. We know it was a spot because their plaster was all over the place. And I will tell you, okay, I moved enough dirt to cover this podium up to the roof. Never found a shark tooth, I don't know. So, at any rate, here's another guy. Who knows what that guy is? Saber-toothed cat, saber-toothed tiger. And this is a state fossil of both Florida and California. And of course, named for these big dagger-like teeth here. Otherwise, pretty much like a mountain lion or something like that. And so these are kind of awesome. The sabers have been found. We did find on one of our trips a piece of arm bone of a saber-toothed tiger, and the museum didn't have that. And so we will operate under permit from the State Museum. We have a very